Good morning and welcome to Equity Story Trade Watch, the 13th of July, Thursday. I'm on my own today, so it should be fairly short and sweet. Not too many announcements this morning, but we're going to talk about last night's inflation numbers out of the US. We're going to talk up. There's about three, I think, or four stories this morning, and have a look at a couple of other things after that. So before I get on to the actual news, disclaimer in front of you, everything that we talk about today, or everything I talk about today is general advice only. It's all based on technicals and fundamentals. All right, so let's get the screen going, show you what I'm looking at, and we can discuss last night's action out of the US, which is, we've got CPI numbers, of course. We had, well, it was a pretty scary moment because we just don't know what they're going to come up with, right? So it was actually pretty good news. So inflation month-to-month down to 0.2. Inflation rates as a result dropped down to year-on-year to 3%, down from 4%. Beat expectations, consensus was 3.1, forecast was 3.2. Core inflation dropped down to 4.8 from 5.3. Again, beat expectations. So all in all, looks decent, very good, positive for interest rates going up there, right? So possibly, while the Fed is still talking they're going to need one or two, I think they should just leave it as it is. Let this play out on its own. I don't think they need to move again. I mean, it's down into the 4.8, inflation down to 3. It is on the way down, right? I don't think by them upping it anytime soon will change matters too much at all. In fact, if they do move too much, it potentially could accelerate this and actually drop the US economy into a recession. So I think it's probably best to just left alone. So what did that actually mean for the markets? The markets actually jumped last night. And I'm just looking at the numbers. We've got the Dow Jones up 0.25%, but the Nasdaq was the one that's moved quite significantly at 1.15%. So that was good news. That's carrying through to Australian numbers. And I think the XJO, just having a look at it right now, is up. Let me just have a look. Up 93 points, which is excellent. So that's up 1.3%. So really looks pretty decent, right? We're probably seeing now the last of the interest rate rises. We're seeing the inflation just dropping and dropping and dropping, which is beautiful. It's just in Australia what we're going to do here. And I think I saw again yesterday's speech from Lowe saying that potentially there might be less hawkish, which means maybe we are at the end of our also rate rises. So good news all around. I'm looking obviously some of the stocks, and especially the tech stocks that are going up today. And I'll again show you a few of those later on today. So okay, let's have a look at the commodities. What actually happened there today? So let's go through and see where we're at with that. Not much happening uranium wise. Coal down to 129. Again, not much happening there, but the gold had a big jump last night. That was good. And again, I'll show you some gold stories. So that's probably where you're going to be probably looking at some trades at 1957. Copper had a bit of a move on the back of that. Iron ore up as well. So you can expect maybe some movement out of the commodity prices on the back of inflation dropping. So that's good news for BHP and some of the others like Fortescues and S32s and so on. So again, we are going to have a look at some of these companies charts in a sec. But next thing we're going to do is have a look, and I'm going to again throw the screens to Reuters so we can have a look at some announcements this morning. So let's have a look at those and see where we at right now. All right, so I've got four. Let's start with VEA. So these guys this is really our one of our dividend stocks. It's actually had a not a bad announcement today, an update. It's actually up, I think today, up with almost 1.5%. So it's recovering nicely. They had an outage previously. We talked about it. I think that was about a month or so ago, and maybe even 2 months ago. They had an outage at Geelong area. But it's still, nothing's really changed for us. It was a one-off. It's still a dividend story, and it's still holding trend. So all up, still decent. So that's nice news. NWA, that's the one that popped today on its update today. So let's have a look how that's going. And if you can look at the chart, and I'm going to put it on maybe a 3-year chart, so you can have a look, maybe 2-year chart. That's looking very good for next week. If that holds on like this, And then, like, you know, what I'm thinking, if the interest rates are now at its peak and maybe now starting to, you know, top and possibly go down in the next 12 months, with inflation going down and down and down, then you're going to see maybe some better performance out of some, you know, some stocks. So some of these net wealth hubs, funds, maybe they're going to have a better time ahead of it. Hence, some of these charts are going to starting to look pretty good. And NWL is starting to shape absolutely beautifully for the end of the week. So you want to just put it on your watch list. And with this update today, this is potentially one to maybe have a trade for the next few weeks, right? So that's looking very, very good. I'm liking how it's updated today, 10% for the week. This is definitely on my radar. Next one, AQZ had an upgrade ready today on the back of probably dropping two really strong themes here going for AQZ. One of them, dropping oil prices. Obviously, fuel prices will be much cheaper than they were maybe a year ago or even 6 months ago. So inflation is helping them out here with a drop in fuel prices. And second of all, of course, everyone's starting to fly again, right? So that's also quite positive for them. So an upgrade today. It's still not got quite there for a trade, but it's getting there, and potentially in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we could see this above, and this could be a trade. So one to watch. And last little one I want to talk about is a little ICL called Iceni Gold. The reason I want to talk about it is the chart, which has obviously bounced quite hard today. And you can see, if I just put it on a daily, up today, let's have a look, and I'll put it on a year so you can see, up today, 50%. This is on the back of some rock chips, right? Now, I want to see some really, you know, they've obviously drilling where there's previous drilling has been done by BHP and so on, but it still hasn't been explored properly. And I know they've been coming up with some rock chips, and they've been pretty strong, you know, exceptional grade, because they probably got some nuggety gold in there, right? I still want to see it actually drilled and see whether they're talking about as an intrusion below. Yeah. Let's have a look, drill it, and we'll talk about it. But, you know, the farmers are getting excited about this. So would I be jumping in this? Not on rock chips, for sure. I want to see some proper drilling results, proper assays, to see exactly what they're going underneath, if they've got anything at all. It could be just negative gold throughout the region, right? Which is going to be very, very difficult to mine anyway. So for me, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the really early exploration point of view, but it's just not enough for me to really get excited about it right now. All right, so that's the announcement. So let's have a look at some of these gold stories and see where they're at with the charts. What would it be doing? Really, one of my favorites is the gray. So let's have a look at that one, and I'll put it on a weekly. You can see that chart is just swinging so beautifully. So if it finishes like the end of the week, you'll be buying this, right? There's no doubt. This is pretty strong, 16% for the week already. This is excellent action right there. And, you know, we've got the gold moving up as well. And gold will probably move now with the possibility of rates stopping, right? If the rates stop now where they are, and there's an inkling from the investment fraternity that that's it for the interest rates, it's going to start maybe coming down in next year. The American dollar is probably start going to weaken, and you're going to see gold starting to go up. And this is exactly what we're seeing right now. This is why potentially right now you want to get into some of the gold players and make some trades out of this, right? Technically speaking. So you got the gray, it looking pretty good. Newcrest is in a takeover, so I'm not going to talk about that one. Evolution, another one up there. Let's have a look at that. Again, looking very good, and I'll probably be buying things like that. BGL had a pretty good jump anyway over the last few days. So again, look at that. That's probably maybe gone too hard, too fast for me. I'll be looking at some of the others, but there's so many others you can have a look at. Let's have a look at, I had another one on here, and that was Western African Resources. Let's have a look at that. Not quite yet, so that one's definitely not there. Alkane, let's have a look at that one, and you can see all these are dominating, right? Dominating the top of my watch list. Look at that; that looks sensational as well for the end of the week. So if you can, you know, start setting yourself in. Part of me thinking is I could maybe buy this today if I'm expecting this, you know, gold to go on with it, right? Because of what we've seen last night on the inflation front and what I think might happen. You know, you take a little small punt and start accumulating today, possibly, right? Possibly. But that's just giving you extra risk out there, right? But doesn't matter. It's how you want to trade this. It's up to you. I'm just giving you the fundamentals, what I think is going to happen. I'm just giving you some good charts for you to make your own decisions. So let's have a look at maybe some of these BHPs, where there's S32s on the back of. So you can see there's a rebound. This is obviously way too early on some of these things, but this does give you some food for thought where they're going. And look at this Rio. It's starting to look quite interesting. Possibly there's going to be a gain and maybe a buy forming by the end of the week. IGO, let's have a look at that one. Yep, that looks okay, right? So there you go. Again, some of these stocks are starting to look again quite interesting. And at the start of the week, late last week, it was like, oh my god, this is just terrible. I don't know what to do. Just stay away from the markets. But it was such a great night last night when I saw those numbers at 10:30. I was waiting for those numbers, saw them, thinking, we're in. We're gonna have a good day, and possibly we're gonna start looking at some of these tech stocks and some of these other stocks that we wanted to buy. So look, it looks good. I have to say, this is probably as much as I want to say today. But start looking at some of these gold stocks for sure. If you want to go jump in early, go for it. Some of these tech stocks, like I said, you look at 360s actually recovering result as well. Probably really good time to have a look at this again. And some of the other stuff as well. We talked about them. Even I'm looking something like RDY, right? That's actually, look at that chart. It's starting to look really good. We're going to have a look tomorrow, maybe some of the American tech stocks, because they are starting to, some of these old laggards are starting to look really good. So possibly places where we can start making some decent trades. Thank God we're getting there. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Thanks so much for joining me. Enjoy your day, and I'm going to see you again tomorrow. Cheers.